Hi everyone. Coming into the COVID crisis, NBFCs were already battling huge challenges. And this crisis could probably leave a long term impact on this critical sector. In this 3-part series, let us listen to what the stalwarts from the sector have to say about the post COVID world and how the NBFC and fintech sector will adapt to the new normal.
The COVID impact itself is very severe on this industry because it is affecting both the supply side and the demand side. The lenders are finding it extremely difficult to get funding, and then there is the concern of capital sufficiency. Borrowers are very anxious, repayments could be in trouble. There is the fear of job losses, of pay cuts on the salaried side. As far as the self-employed segment is concerned, with the economy coming to a halt, all commercial activity stopping, the small commercial businesses are sure to suffer.
COVID-19 has had a multifaceted impact on MSME lending industry. Unlike some of the earlier challenges, this one is driven by genuine customer distress. The first source of this shock are physical lockdowns, which have prevented access to customers. Second, the downturn in demand due to customer sentiment is likely to cause an extended dip. Third, the disruption of supply chains, both local and global, as well as manpower, may make it difficult for businesses to restart. This stress in turn has resulted in deterioration of asset quality as well as weakening of new credit demand. It is anticipated that 25 to 30% of MSMEs may not be able to survive this shock, and if the same is true, it will mean unprecedented level of NPAs and weakening of balance sheets for banks and NBFCs alike. The industry thus faces both a liquidity and solvency crunch over the next 9 to 12 months.
If I was to talk specifically for the NBFC sector, it has really disrupted the way we look at liquidity, the way we look at risk, the way we look at growth in the businesses. Let me give you 4 big impacts that we've seen for the financial services sector. Number one, it is very evident that the moratoriums that has been given, and the moratorium is an important aspect of ensuring that consumers don't get impacted much by the situation, has really put fair amount of dent in the liquidity of the sector, because on one side we're not getting money that we get every month. On the other side, we have to service our debt, grow disbursements, run the expenses, etc. etc. The second area clearly is on the portfolio. We clearly can see that the portfolio will come under tremendous stress. Both the economic recovery will be delayed, customers will be in stress, be small businesses, large corporate consumers, which will impact the profitability of the financial service sector, at least for the next 1 year that one can see. The third impact clearly here is on the customer growth, on the balance sheet. Clearly the lockdown has impacted our ability to disburse new loans, both in terms of the way we assess risk and also in terms of the mobility of people to really reach out to customers. Now every day, every week delay of new business origination getting stalled impacts your P&L, which leads to the fourth impact that we can see in our business, which is going to be calibration of expenses, calibration of how we work, calibration of what customer segment we go after.
As a mortgage guarantee company, we are directly impacted by a slowdown in the mortgage industry as a whole. Retail lending has come to a standstill thanks to the lockdown, and even when the lockdown is lifted, we expect the recovery to be slightly gradual and not a V-shaped one. Housing is a very critical component of the economy. It is the second largest contributor after agriculture. It has numerous linkages to other industries and employment. There has been strong, consistent focus for the last 5 to 7 years to promote housing, especially affordable housing, and the results are there for all to see. So we expect a recovery, but the next 3 to 6 months will certainly see some bumps in the road.
The demand of the new housing is almost zero. Even after lifting of the lockdown, it may take minimum 2 to 3 months for revival of demand from the people from the organized segment, and the demand from the unorganized segment or informal segment may take 6 to 7 months to revive. That clearly shows for this year the housing growth, for housing finance and housing growth has to be almost minimal. With regard delinquency is concerned, the RBI has given 3 months moratorium. After the moratorium period gets over on 31st May, the delinquency are set to rise because of the impact of income largely on the business segment of the people who have taken the loan. And I look that the delinquency will peak sometime in September, October and may moderate by March 2021. The small housing finance company, they are constrained with the liquidity. Even if some little demand will come up after 4 or 5 months, they may not be able to disburse the loan. Though the bigger housing finance company or good housing finance company, they have no problem.
NBFC industry for last year and a half has been struggling with one crisis after the other. So this has come at a worst possible time. And our sense is that this will adversely affect all the operational parameter of an NBFC, right from raising resource, which was raising money from banks and capital market, which was already tough. Collections is already down to a trickle as a lot of customers have opted for moratorium. So demand for loans will be very muted. All decisions will get postponed. Operations will have great deal of workload and also effort involved in restructuring of loans and redrawing the amort schedule. Profitability will be adversely impacted. Non-performing assets would increase, and for some of the NBFCs this could also mean solvency issues, and certainly it'll lead to mortality within the industry. The only silver lining here I would say is that post the crisis, the NBFCs which survived would have a good period of business ahead of them.
Yeah, in terms of the impact on lending business, we believe that in short term, the risks associated with the business in terms of portfolio quality, liquidity, business continuity, the demand of the business, that's going to stay at an elevated level. However, from medium to long term, I believe the fundamentals of the business won't change. However, certain elements of the business will undergo a change, whether it's risk management or the channel acquisition strategy.
It appears that even post the lockdown getting lifted, the ability of the micro enterprises to come back to normalcy and stand on their feet once again is going to be quite impaired for a long time to come. And this would mean business would be low. Collections of the portfolio that we already have is also not going to be easy, and clearly there would need to be forbearance from the Reserve Bank of India as well as some support to the MSMEs from the government.
Decreased productivity and lockdown already have an impact on the financials of corporate sector, supply chain disruptions, manufacturing and health shade crisis. For some organizations, near-term survival is the only agenda items. Others are trying to figure their way out. So what will normal look like? While no one can say how long this crisis will last, what we find on the other side will not look like the normal of recent times. We have already seen humongous losses in financial markets of trillions of dollars. Investor sentiment is all-time low, and it's becoming evident. Due to shutdown and income slowdowns, many repayment of loans may cease or leave banks dry. This is a big risk. Most fintech lending companies are expected to take a significant hit to their loan books and repayment collections slowing down. VCs are looking at entire portfolios and stress testing all of them. We expect both the financial services and fintech industries to consolidate. The development comes at a time when the country's large shadow banking sector also is going through some kind of restructuring and under pressure. So M&As will rise in the fintech space while the fintech revolution is far from over and will continue to disrupt existing business models. Some markets are entering a maturation phase as companies offering expansion and begin to overlap. It's all part of a continuous innovation cycle of disruptive unbundling and rebundling. M&A activity will play an increasingly important role in verticals that saw first wave of disruption and reaching certain level of maturity.